For millions across the UK, one announcement has cut through the noise and landed with unusual weight. A state pension rise confirmed for December 2025. New rates, a full payment schedule, and finally, a sense that something is moving in the right direction after years of worry, uncertainty, and relentless pressure on household budgets. For some, this news brings relief. For others, cautious hope. And for many, a single question that matters more than all the others. What does this really mean for my life? Because behind every headline about pensions, there is a kitchen table, a gas bill, a food shop, a rent payment, a quiet calculation made every month about what can be afforded and what must wait. When the state pension shifts, it does not just change figures on paper. It changes decisions, habits, and in many cases, dignity. The confirmation of a rise in December 2025 has been welcomed largely because of timing. Winter is the hardest season for older households. Heating costs surge just as daylight shortens and spending naturally increases around the holidays. For many pensioners, winter is not simply cold, it is frightening. It is when savings shrink fastest. It is when isolation feels deepest. And it is when financial pressure becomes impossible to ignore. A rise at that moment carries emotional weight beyond its numerical value. For years, pensioners have watched prices climb faster than their income. Food costs have risen quietly but relentlessly. Energy bills have swung unpredictably. Council tax has crept upward. Insurance premiums have rarely gone down. And all the while, the state pension has struggled to truly keep pace with the lived reality of inflation on the ground. So when a rise is confirmed, the immediate reaction is not celebration, it is scrutiny. How much is it really? Who will it reach? And will it finally make a meaningful difference? The new DWP rates for December 2025 reflect adjustments designed to bring payments closer to current living costs. For someone relying heavily or entirely on the state pension, this adjustment could mean the difference between constant anxiety and cautious stability. It could mean being able to heat one extra room through winter. It could mean fewer skipped meals. It could mean buying gifts without guilt. It could mean saying yes to a necessary prescription without rechecking the bank balance first. But it is also important to understand that not every pensioner will feel the impact equally. The state pension does not exist in isolation. It interacts with private pensions, savings interest, housing support, council tax reductions, disability-related benefits, and tax thresholds. For some, a rise in pension income is pure relief. For others, it nudges total income closer to tax exposure. What feels like a gain in one hand can quietly become a reduction in the other. This is the invisible complexity that shapes real outcomes. The full payment schedule revealed for December 2025 clarifies when the increased payments will begin and how they will be distributed over the months that follow. For many pensioners, predictability is as important as amount. Knowing exactly when money will arrive allows people to plan. It reduces fear. It restores a sense of control that many feel has eroded over time. The importance of predictable income cannot be overstated. For those still working later in life, income fluctuates with hours and contracts. For those fully retired, the state pension is often the only stable pillar left. When that pillar feels uncertain, everything else begins to wobble with it. The December 2025 rise is also symbolic. It arrives in a period marked by ongoing discussions about retirement age, past communication failures, and long-standing frustration among older generations who feel they have been left behind by economic change. A confirmed rise is not just financial, it is political. It signals acknowledgement. Whether it will feel sufficient is another matter entirely. There is also the emotional legacy of previous rises that failed to keep up with real-world pressures. Many pensioners remember times when increases sounded generous on paper but disappeared instantly into higher bills. That memory creates restraint today. People are hesitant to believe that any rise will truly change their situation until they see it reflected in daily life. Trust, once shaken, is slow to rebuild. For couples living together, the rise may offer shared relief. For those living alone, its impact is felt differently. Single pensioners often face higher relative costs because they do not share bills. They still need heat, electricity, food, and housing, but without another person to split expenses. For them, even small increases can feel significant, but so can small losses elsewhere. Housing costs remain one of the greatest dividing lines. Pensioners who own their homes outright may feel the rise more directly as improved comfort. Those renting, especially in the private sector, may find much of the increase absorbed immediately by rising rents. This uneven landscape means that one national rate masks countless personal realities. The full payment schedule offers clarity, but it also exposes how tightly timed many households already are. Payments that arrive just days late can cause late fees, missed direct debits, and a cascade of secondary stress. Knowing when December 2025 payments will land may seem trivial to some, but to those living month to month, it can mean the difference between calm and chaos. Another quiet impact of the confirmed rise lies in savings behavior. Some pensioners will feel confident enough to dip slightly into savings again. Others will choose to rebuild what has already been spent over harsh winters past. In both cases, behavior changes quietly beneath the headline. Yet even as the rise is welcomed, it carries questions about the future. Will future increases match this one? Will they be tied more closely to true living costs? Or will pensioners once again find themselves chasing inflation from behind? These unanswered questions keep anxiety alive even in moments of good news. The December 2025 rise also interacts with the broader conversation about fairness between generations. Younger workers often feel overwhelmed by taxes and housing costs. Older pensioners speak of decades of contributions and promises made. The pension system sits at the emotional intersection of these two pressures. Every rise reignites debates about sustainability, responsibility, and what society owes to those who built it. For pensioners, these debates can feel distant and abstract. What matters more is whether the money is enough to live with dignity now. Dignity is a word that appears often in conversations about pensions, but it is rarely defined. For some, dignity means never needing help. For others, it means being able to accept help without shame. For many, it means being able to live quietly without fear of sudden collapse. The December 2025 increase touches all three meanings in different ways. There are also psychological effects tied to being told your income will rise. People straighten their posture, they breathe a little easier, they feel seen, if only briefly. That emotional shift has real measurable impact on health, stress, and overall well-being. But expectations, if they grow too high, can turn that emotional boost into disappointment. This is why realistic understanding matters as much as celebration. The confirmed new rates represent progress, but they do not erase the years that preceded them. They do not repay savings already spent. They do not undo stress already felt. They do not reverse isolation caused by financial limitation. They open a door forward, but they cannot rebuild what was lost behind. For many families, the December 2025 rise will spark new conversations. Adult children will reassess how much support parents might need. Grandparents may feel more comfortable contributing to birthdays or small treats. Financial planning within families will subtly shift as confidence grows. These ripple effects extend far beyond the pensioner alone. At the same time, there will be those for whom the rise changes very little. Rising rents, increasing service charges, care costs, and specialist medical needs can absorb any increase almost instantly. For those facing such burdens, the rise may feel like a drop in an ocean they cannot escape. Both realities can exist at the same time, and they often do. The confirmed payment schedule also raises awareness of something many avoid thinking about: dependency on the system. No matter how independent someone feels, the state pension shapes daily life in ways that are quiet but constant. When it rises, life adjusts. When it stagnates, life tightens. When it changes suddenly, fear follows. Awareness of that dependency can be uncomfortable, but it is also the starting point for honest discussion about how society values its older citizens. December 2025 will not be a miracle month. It will not erase hardship. It will not fix inequality. But for some, it will restore a small margin of breathing space. And breathing space is often the difference between coping and crumbling. As the months pass and the date approaches, expectations will evolve. Some will plan carefully, some will wait anxiously, some will avoid thinking about it altogether because hope has hurt before. All of those responses are human. What matters most is that clarity now exists where uncertainty once dominated. Clarity does not guarantee comfort, but it does allow preparation. For anyone relying on the state pension, preparation is power, knowing the new rate, knowing the schedule, knowing how it interacts with other income, knowing who to speak to if something looks wrong in December. These details form a shield against panic, because panic is what empties savings fastest. Panic is what leads to rushed decisions. Panic is what creates long-term scars from short-term shocks. The December 2025 rise is not only about a future date, it is about what happens between now and then, how people plan, how families talk, how confidence grows or withers, how the idea of later life itself is shaped by whether stability feels possible. For those who spent decades believing that retirement would bring calm after effort, every confirmed rise feels like a small reaffirmation that the promise has not completely disappeared. For those who already feel forgotten, it feels like a test of whether words will finally become reality. And when December does arrive, accounts will be checked, statements will be studied, payments will be compared, emotions will rise with the numbers. For some, relief will wash over them. For others, disappointment will settle quietly when reality does not match hope. Both responses are valid. Both deserve recognition. Because behind every national system is a personal story. Behind every rate change is a human calculation. Behind every payment schedule is someone waiting. Outro. The state pension rise, confirmed for December 2025, is more than a financial adjustment. It is a moment of reflection for a nation that grows older every year. It asks what we owe to those who built the present. It challenges how seriously we take dignity in later life. And it reminds every pensioner watching that, while numbers matter, peace of mind matters more. The true value of this rise will not be measured only in pounds. It will be measured in warmth through winter, in nights of better sleep, and in the quiet confidence that, at least for now, stability still has a place in the future.